and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I am Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Well, government is bracing itself for a stormy winter session of Parliament beginning today, with the opposition seeking to corner it over the demonetization issue, calling it a currency scam. Well, that is the big focus this morning. All the details on that and much more in this bulletin in the next half an hour. Let us begin with the headlines. Month-long winter session of Parliament begins today. 9 bills including GST to be introduced. Prime Minister appeals to opposition for cooperation. Congress party leads opposition in preparing to launch attack on centre over demonetization in Parliament. Rahul Gandhi calls it the making of a huge scam. Surgical strikes, OROP and Jammu and Kashmir situation also to be raised. Centre approves 6.6% hike in minimum support price of wheat. Decision during cabinet meeting. Centre also bans controversial preacher Zakir Naik's NGO for 5 years. Pro-Assad forces launch a fierce aerial attack across Syria. Waves of strike end months of calm in East Aleppo. And around 100 people feared drowned in the Mediterranean after migrant dinghy capsizes off Libya. 23 survivors rescued by oil tanker that was first to reach the spot. Our top focus, the month-long winter session of Parliament begins from today. Well, during the session, 9 new bills including GST and surrogacy regulation will be introduced in Parliament. Well, the session is expected to be stormy, with opposition parties gearing up to corner the government on several issues, including demonetization of high-value notes. Now, recent government decision to demonetize 500 and 1,000 rupee notes has evoked a sharp reaction from the opposition, including the Congress, Left, TMC, Aam Aadmi Party and JDU. Now, they are ready to pin down the government on the issue. Various parties have also separately given adjournment notices in the Lok Sabha. They have also given notice for suspension of proceedings in Rajya Sabha as well to discuss the issue and highlight the plight of the common man. Apart from that, surgical strikes across LOC at terror launch pads, situation in Jammu and Kashmir and OROP for ex-servicemen are also some of the other issues that will hog the limelight during this session. Now, the government has already made it clear that it will not shy away from discussing any issue. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has sought the opposition's cooperation for the smooth functioning of Parliament. At the all-party meet called on Tuesday, he appealed for support in his fight against black money. The opposition, however, said the decision on demonetization was hastily done without any preparation.
Prime Minister's appeal to opposition parties to support the centre's war against black money, corruption and terror funding. His appeal came at the all-party meeting he chaired at the Parliament House on the eve of the winter session.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने सभी पार्टियों से निवेदन किया है, शीतकालीन सत्र का बहस के लिए, चर्चा के लिए पूरा उपयोग करे और राष्ट्र हित के और जन कल्याण के हित में जो मुद्दे हैं वो सारी मुद्दे उठाए और उसमें चर्चा करें.
The Prime Minister also asked political parties to think of bringing transparency in political funding and also make consensus on holding simultaneous elections for Lok Sabha and state assemblies. The opposition, while backing the move of demonetization, said it was hasty and ill-prepared to deal with the fallout. The Congress also alleging that the decision to invalidate the 1,500 currency notes was leaked in advance to some people, including BJP leaders.
शायद वो भारत का सबसे बड़ा स्कैम यही निकलेगा और इसकी इंक्वायरी होनी चाहिए. कैसी इंक्वायरी होगी, कौन करेगा, उसके जब चर्चा होगी पार्लियामेंट के अंदर उस वक्त उसमें हम लोग बताएंगे. ये सिलेक्टिव लीकेज हो गई. कई जगह से रिपोर्ट आ रही है कि 8 तारीख से पहले ही 2000 के नोट उन्होंने निकाल लिए.
The centre rejecting the allegation as baseless and saying full secrecy was maintained before the announcement. Defending the decision, the Prime Minister said black money and fake currency were behind cross-border terrorism, and that's the reason why all parties should come together on this issue of national interest. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And the opposition is gearing to put up a united fight against the government in the winter session. Now, they will be meeting today again to chalk out their strategy on demonetization on the floor of the House. On Tuesday, a majority of the opposition parties, led by the Congress party, met in the national capital to formulate a joint strategy to corner the government. The government, on its part, is prepared to defend the move, insisting that it is essential to curb black money.
A united opposition has upped the ante against the government over its demonetization move. Leaders of as many as 10 opposition parties met in the national capital just a day ahead of the winter session to chalk out a plan to take on the government inside parliament.
राय यही है कि कल इस सवाल को उठाएंगे कि जिस तरीके से ये पूरा सिलसिला लागू करने के लिए जो तय किया गया, उससे कई सारे करोड़ों लोगों को अपनी रोजमर्रा जिंदगी में दिक्कत पहुंच रही है। और सरकार खुद कहती है कि ऑल्टरनेट अरेंजमेंट्स का उन्होंने पूरा इंतजाम नहीं किया। अगर ऑल्टरनेट अरेंजमेंट्स का नहीं किया तो लोगों को इस तरीके से मतलब दिक्कतों में उलझन में क्यों डाल रहे हो?
जो भी आज बात हुई है वो इतना ही है कि सारे लोगों को यूनाइटेडली एक साथ एक्ट करना, पार्लियामेंट हो चाहे बाहर हो, कल फिर बैठेंगे।
We are of the view that the issue must be raised in both the houses very strongly so that government understands the ground situation.
The parties reached a consensus on not to rush to the president on the issue, as suggested by TMC chief Mamata Banerjee.
There was a unanimous decision by everybody that to have march tomorrow is too early as an opposition party. We must have march maybe in due course of time, but not the first very day. First very day we need not to have. First we should have a discussion inside the house, inside both the houses of the parliament, and maybe if need be, then we will go to Rashtrapati.
The West Bengal Chief Minister, however, is adamant on meeting the president on the issue, irrespective of whether other parties join her or not.
Tomorrow, whoever is willing to go with us, I have my 44 MPs also.
The government, however, has decided to dig in its heels and defend the exercise, arguing that it is essential to tackle the menace of black money.
The opposition which is trying to criticize it, I think is doing this more out of an attempt to sabotage this exercise because they have more to hide than to show.
But with battle lines clearly drawn between the government and a united opposition, legislative business in both houses during the winter session may be affected. With inputs from Vishal Daya, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, as a united opposition geared up to corner the government on demonetization in Parliament, the Congress lashed out at the centre. Now, Rahul Gandhi has said that it is the making of a big scam and that the government must take steps to reduce the inconvenience to common man.
The Mr. Narendra Modi told all his BJP people that this was going to happen in advance. So, as far as I can see, there is potentially a massive scam behind what is going on.
Congress Vice President's most stinging attack yet on the government over the demonetization move. Rahul Gandhi alleging the real big players of black money have been untouched.
जो सचमुच में बड़े ब्लैक मनी के प्लेयर्स हैं, उनको नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने स्कॉट फ्री छोड़ रखा है। माल्या जी बाहर बैठे हुए हैं, ललित मोदी जी बाहर बैठे हुए हैं, और बड़े जो भी प्लेयर्स हैं उनको नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने बिल्कुल छोड़ रखा है। अगर आप लाइन में जाके देखेंगे, वहां पे आपको कोई बड़ा प्लेयर आपको दिखाई दे रहा है?
Rahul also accusing the centre of not thinking through the decision, saying the move was based on one person's thinking.
The decision that was taken was not thought through. It was done on the basis of one person's thinking, and it was done in an ad hoc, unthought out way. That is our biggest problem with it.
While supporting the fight against corruption, Rahul Gandhi said the centre must address the issue of smooth transition to the new currency quickly and that this cannot be allowed to go on for a long time.
The Congress party, all of us, are very much for taking on corruption and black money. The question is, why should millions of people, millions of poor people, be inconvenienced in this manner?
Earlier, the Congress party also alleged that the demonetization scheme was unveiled to write off NPAs of public banks.
अब जो NPAs हैं वो लगभग 6 लाख करोड़ हैं। तो ये चाहते क्या हैं कि ये जनता से पैसा लेकर उन उद्योगपतियों की NPA खत्म कर दे जिन्होंने देश के साथ गद्दारी की।
The party also argued that the move will have an adverse effect on the GDP due to what it called was a freezing of 86% of banknotes in value terms. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has urged President Pranab Mukherjee to direct the centre to withdraw demonetization move immediately. Now, he has also demanded a Supreme Court-monitored probe into the scrapping of high-currency notes. Now, he termed the move as a fraud on the nation that benefited a particular political party. Kejriwal also tabled a resolution in the Delhi Assembly in this regard during its one-day emergency session on Tuesday, which lasted for 2.5 hours. The Chief Minister will today West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. He will join Mamata Banerjee in a march to Rashtrapati Bhavan to press for a rollback of the government's decision. Now, TMC MPs will begin marching from Gandhis statue in Parliament House. Former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister and National Conference leader Omar Abdullah is also expected to join the march led by the Trinamool Congress, and so is the Shiv Sena.
Warning the Prime Minister not to insult the common man standing in serpentine queues at banks and ATMs by calling them corrupt. Grieving with those who lost their near and dear ones due to refusal of treatment by hospitals on account of valid legal tenders suddenly being declared invalid by Honourable Prime Minister. Resolves to urge upon Honourable President of India to direct the Government of India to withdraw at once the draconian demonetization scheme and to take necessary steps to institute a high-level probe to be monitored by Honourable Supreme Court of India to look into the allegations that the scheme is a fraud on the nation.
Well, after the demonetization move, now government is taking various steps to make sure that inconvenience to people is mitigated. Well, our correspondent Akhilesh Suman brings us this report on the ground realities from Ajmer in Rajasthan. Let's take a look.
Very early in the morning, the ladies are sitting in the queue. They are sitting here not for any picnic, they are not waiting for anything else, but they are waiting for withdrawing their own money from this bank that they had deposited. Or some of them are also waiting for depositing their money, that the notes that has been banned by now. Let us ask some of the people, some of the ladies who are sitting here. You are a very young person. What is your problem? क्यों आप यहाँ सुबह से बैठी हुई हो?
पैसे जमा करवाने अंकल हमें, इसलिए बैठे हुए हैं ताकि हमारे कल जो पैसे जमा नहीं हुए वो वापस आज हम करवाने आए, ताकि एक बैंक से हमें बहुत प्रॉब्लम हुई, उम्मीद है कि यहाँ पर नहीं होगी, जल्दी नंबर आ जाएगा.
You can see that some people are also helping their employers to deposit their money in the bank. And now let us come to this queue. The people, the male people who are standing in the queue for a long time. So भाई साहब आप बहुत देर से खड़े हैं, आपको क्या है?
कम से कम 6:30 बजे आए हम. खड़े में अभी खुला नहीं है बैंक, 10 बजे खुलेंगे तब निकलेगा पैसा, तब जाना पड़ेंगे.
You can see that people from different strata, specifically from the lowest strata of society, are standing in the queue. But now people are hoping that the middle class people will also come and stand in the queue either for depositing the money or for withdrawing the money. Whatever be the situation, money needs to go in the market, money needs to go in the pockets of the people. But the 2,000 rupee note denomination is becoming a big hurdle for the people, because even if they get it, they cannot be changed in the market. They cannot buy anything with the 2,000 rupee note. So this is a question for the government, what to do with the 2,000 notes. Whether the denomination should be decreased or how to continue with this situation so that people can fulfill their basic needs. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Om Prakash in Ajmer.
right now we'll take a very short break. More news on the other side. Stay tuned.
Life after death was a cardinal belief in the Harappan civilization. Reflecting this is the skeleton of a middle-aged woman with gold bangles. Excavated from Rakhigadi in Haryana, it's an example of the burial practices in those times. Much like the Egyptian mummies, vessels, eatables, ornaments were kept near the dead body, in the hope that they would be of use to the person in the next world.
Welcome back. Now, in a respite to farmers in the top wheat growing states of Punjab and Uttar Pradesh, the Union Cabinet on Tuesday approved a 6.6% hike in the minimum support price or the MSP of wheat, the biggest increase so far in the current NDA regime. Now, the Cabinet meet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi increased the minimum support price of wheat by 100 rupees to 1,625 rupees a quintal and pulses by up to 550 rupees per quintal to boost the output of these Rabi crops and check prices. Now, gram MSP was a hike to 4,000 rupees per quintal, including a bonus from 3,500 rupees per quintal in the previous year, while a support price of masoor was raised to 3,950 rupees per quintal from 3,400 rupees per quintal. But the Union Cabinet also approved the constitution of a special committee for interlinking of rivers in compliance with the Supreme Court's order. On to some other news. Well, the government on Tuesday banned the NGO promoted by controversial Islamic preacher Zakir Naik for 5 years for its alleged terror activities. Now, the decision came at a meeting of the Union Cabinet presided over by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Cabinet approved a proposal to declare Islamic Research Foundation or the IRF as an unlawful association under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Well, the move comes after investigation by the Home Ministry found that the NGO was allegedly having dubious links with the Peace TV, an international Islamic channel accused of propagating terrorism. Now, an educational trust run by Naik, remember, has already been prevented from receiving foreign funds. And now, an update on the SYL canal, and a one-day special session of the Punjab Assembly will be held today in the wake of Supreme Court's verdict on the SYL issue. Now, sources say that a new bill may be brought in the Assembly which will suit the ruling Shiromani Akali Dal better in legal terms. After the Supreme Court verdict last Thursday, 42 MLAs of the Congress resigned from the Vidhan Sabha. Now, Punjab Chief Minister Parkash Singh Badal has asked all political parties to get together on the issue. However, his deputy and his son Sukhbir Singh Badal has said the Congress has run away from the issue. Now, Punjab government has also denotified the land acquired for construction of Satluj Yamuna link and announced that it will be returned to the original owners at no cost. Meanwhile, Haryana government has also now convened a meeting of all political parties to be held by Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar on Friday. Well, the government has slashed the price of petrol by 1.46 rupees per litre and of diesel by 1.53 rupees per litre. The reduction in petrol price comes after 6 times increases since September, while in the case of diesel, it reversed 3 hikes of last month. In a statement, the nation's biggest fuel retailer, Indian Oil Corporation, said that the current level of international product prices of petrol and diesel and rupee US dollar exchange rate warranted a decrease in the selling price of petrol and diesel. It further said that IOC would continue to monitor the movement of price in the international market and rupee dollar exchange rate and revise prices accordingly. So here is a look at the fuel prices following the revision. News from the national capital now. In view of loss of income to daily wage labourers, now Lieutenant Governor of Delhi Najib Jung on Tuesday lifted the ban on construction activities in Delhi, which was imposed earlier this month to tackle severe air pollution levels. Well, the decision to lift ban on construction was taken at a meeting chaired by Najib Jung to review the condition of air pollution in Delhi. Now, this was a follow-up meeting of the one that was held on 7th of November, in which several strong measures were taken to check pollution in Delhi. Now, Jung instructed a strict observation on the ban of firecrackers during the marriage season. He said that the ban on the diesel generating sets, including in marriages, shall continue. The Lieutenant Governor further added that the trucks coming from other states will not be allowed to enter the city before midnight till 31st of January next year. And here is a look at the events that are slated for the day. Here is the day ahead. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the commemoration of the National Press Day today on the occasion of Golden Jubilee celebrations of the Press Council of India. He will also confer the National Awards for Excellence in Journalism. Now, Raja Ram Mohan Roy Award will be given to veteran journalist S. Nihal Singh. President Pranab Mukherjee will host the Vice Chancellors and heads of higher educational institutions at the second Visitors Conference at Rashtrapati Bhavan today. Issues like creating world-class higher educational institutions, creating global alliance of institutions for research, innovation and technology development, making India a favoured destination for higher learning, technology-induced models of pedagogy and funding options for higher education will be the agenda of the conference. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi will appear before the magistrate at Bhiwandi Court today to seek bail in the alleged offence against him over the RSS defamation case. In March 2014, while addressing an election rally in Bhiwandi, Congress Vice President had said that the RSS people killed Gandhiji and today their people talk of him. Now on to our top international focus. Well, rescue teams have said that around 100 people were missing and are feared drowned in the Mediterranean after a migrant boat capsized off Libya. Now, a German NGO whose boat was at the scene said that 23 survivors had been rescued by an oil tanker which was the first to reach the stricken boat. Now, the largest tragedy in the Mediterranean came a day after dozens were feared drowned in the sinking of another boat from which there are only 15 survivors. News from the Middle East now, and Russia launched a long-awaited offensive across Syria on Tuesday with a wave of airstrikes, ending a month of calm in East Aleppo. Well, the offensive began hours after Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President-elect Donald Trump discussed Syria over the phone and agreed on the need to fight against international terrorism and extremism. Now, the Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported that at least 3 people were killed in the airstrikes. The bombardment appeared to mark the end of a pause in strikes on targets inside the city declared by the Syrian government and Russia on 18th of October. Remember, Aleppo has become the fiercest front in Syria's 5.5 years of war, which pits President Bashar al-Assad's forces supported by Russia against Sunni rebels backed by Turkey, the US and Gulf monarchies.
Массированного огневого поражения по позициям ИГИЛ и Джабхат ан-Нусры в провинции Идлиб и Хомс. Кроме этого, береговые ракетные комплексы «Бастион» совершили также пуски по...
And news from Africa, well, the United Nations has warned of a famine in northeast Nigeria and says that thousands of children could die unless humanitarian assistance is provided. Now, United Nations says that 75,000 children in northeastern Nigeria risk dying of hunger in the few months in the wake of the Boko Haram insurgency there. Overall, 14 million people are reported to need humanitarian assistance. The UN says it does not have enough funds to avert the crisis and has also requested for international aid. Now, Boko Haram jihadists laid waste to the region before being pushed back by the Nigerian forces in recent months. Now, Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has reclaimed the territory from the Islamists, but the insurgency has taken a brutal toll with over 20,000 people dead, more than 2 million people displaced from their homes, and now famine taking root.
There are currently 400,000 children which are on the verge to start to get into a famine condition. There are 75,000 out of these children, 1/5, that if we don't do something rapidly and seriously, they're going to die in the few months ahead of us. So it's really a very, very serious situation that we are working on and that we need to find ways.
Now, news from the US, where Paul Ryan was re-elected by the Republicans to serve a second term as Speaker of the House. Now, Ryan ran unopposed and was unanimously chosen for another term as he called for his party to unite behind President-elect Donald Trump. Now, with this re-election, Republicans aim to quiet rumors of an initial revolt in the party in the wake of past feuding between Ryan and Donald Trump. Now, the official vote installing Ryan as the Speaker will come in early January when the next session of Congress begins. He must win a majority of House members, that is 218 votes, to keep his jobs, and Republicans will control at least 239 seats. Now, Ryan, who was often at odds with Trump during the long presidential campaign, has pledged to work closely with him to advance his agenda.
Welcome to the dawn of a new, unified Republican government. Feels really good to say that, actually. This will be a government focused on turning President-elect Trump's victory into real progress for the American people. Our team is very excited, and we cannot wait to get to work. At the same time, we recognize that the task ahead of us is enormous. If we're going to put our country back on the right track, we have got to be bold and we have to go big.
Well, that's all in this edition of news. Do stay tuned. We have Parliament Bulletin coming up in both Hindi and English. Thanks for watching.